Welcome back to the show, everybody. Check out these headlines. We've got BlackRock, Vangaurd, State Street, and the World Economic Forum, and you're probably not going to like it. We got Judge Torres, the SEC's motion for appeal. You're going to want to know about it. And Raoul Pal, macro investor, speaks about the Ripple case. You're going to want every bit of it. Visa and stablecoins. It is massive, ladies and gentlemen. But what about Ripple? We're going to talk about it. XRP price, public ledger, private ledger. We're going to touch on it. And XRP technical analyst tells us $33 to $100 plus. Let's talk about it. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube for exclusive content. Right now, $1.08 trillion market cap. The market is flat at the moment, 25,700 plus for Bitcoin, 1,600 plus for Ethereum. Market cap for Tether is $82.8 billion. Number 5 spot is XRP at 50 cents. We're flat on the 24-hour and off by 2.7 on the 7-day. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. People talk about it's either crypto or gold. How about both? I believe the new financial system we're moving to, yes, the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind involves gold and distributed ledger technology. That's what I personally believe. And I'm telling you, if you want physical gold, I want you to click the link underneath the video, and I want you to call the number that I've provided for you or email Miles Franklin for precious metals and get the absolute best prices on gold. Don't believe me? Take a look at this right here. Special today. You can look at this. 1/10 ounce gold Eagles 2023 while supplies last, only $37.50 over melt. And then you have this kilo Valcambi silver bars while supplies last, only $1.99 over spot. But you have to call them at the number I've given you in underneath the video. And when you call them, you tell them to use the code DIG Gold to get the best prices. I'm telling you right now, no doubt about it. And by the way, if you want to get gold and spend it like money so you can create your own personal alternative to banking, do it with Glint. Glint just recently cited as a solution to make gold legal tender on the Texas State House Representative Legislature. How about that? That's how profound the impact of Glint is. Click that link for that as well underneath and get yourself an account open right away. You will not believe the power it puts into your hands. Right here, close to $500 million XRP transferred, and we see Ripple sells tens of millions of XRP as they normally do for operating costs and things of that nature. But again, we never really know where all of it goes. Most of it goes back end on the escrow, but it is always fascinating to watch Ripple be the steward of the escrow. Here we see Jim Cramer is bullish on CZ and Binance. Cowboy Crypto's back on the scene and shows us an avalanche. You know, the inverted Cramer is usually the way to go here. And I don't wish it on CZ or Binance. It was my first ever exchange. I hated when I had to get off of there as a U.S. resident. And I hope that CZ and Binance are able to navigate the waters with the regulatory agencies to be able to avoid any avalanche in their business as it is. And boy, you are not going to like this right here. This is Robert F. Kennedy Jr. explaining how BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard own a huge portion of the S&P 500 companies, and they're also purchased. Well, let him tell you. Here it is. It's a short clip. Take a listen.
More importantly, there's 3 giant corporations, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard.
Bingo.
Which own, collectively, they own each other, so it's really one giant corporation. But they also own 89% of the S&P 500. They own everything. They've now decided to buy every single family home in America. So if they stay on the current trajectory, they will own 60% of the homes in this country, single family homes, by 2030. They literally are trying to buy everything. And the head of it, Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is on the board of the World Economic Forum, and what they've said, we want this great reset, which is you will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, they're on their way to making sure that we don't own anything. So You all probably have heard of people who are about to buy a home, and somebody comes in at the last minute with a cash or offer and snatches it out of the market.
Right.
And it's usually an LLC with an ambiguous name. But if you trace that up, you'll find it's owned by BlackRock.
Wow.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It is a sad reality, but it is very, very true. And the idea of you owning nothing and being happy is quite disturbing to me, to be honest with you. And I hope that we're all awake and well aware of exactly what we're up against here. Now let's talk about this case, talking about being up against something here. The SEC versus Ripple lawsuit update here. This is from Fred Rispoli. Shout out to Michael Branch for all of this. Give him a follow. He says here, hard for me to see Judge Torres certifying the SEC's request. Legal analysis weighs in favor of Ripple, but I think the standalone reason to deny is the prejudice to Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larsen, actual humans and not a company. Similar analysis to U.S. right to a speedy criminal trial. He goes on here. If I just go into this very quickly, I had it open and it closed. My apologies. It says, in my opinion, the only way she certifies is if she decides this is a very political case that I don't want to get too deep in the middle of, and I'll just punt to a Second Circuit and let it decide itself whether to agree, then it's on them. I don't see Judge Torres thinking like that, however, right? So that's where we're at here. Swish down here says 100% chance that she certifies. So we will see. And that may be to cross the T's and dot the I's. But what we need to understand going into this, and Swish is also an attorney. Shout out to you, Swish. But if you, I have to laugh because I mean, the guy is so cool. But nevertheless, you have to understand, if this does get certified, or even if they drop the case on Brad and Chris, they can still do a general appeal, which does not need the judge's permission. But remember, when it goes to Second Circuit Court, if they lose there, they are going to set a very deep precedent that gets even harder to change and overturn. So keep that in mind. Here's Raoul Pal, macro investor here. I want you to listen to this exchange. It's Rand Nooner who, well, I'm not going to leave, you know, my mom said, if you can't say something nice, don't say it at all. So listen to the clip. We love Raoul.
I want to ask you a question. Do you think that the Grayscale ETF decision was bigger than the Ripple SEC decision? When I say that, the ETF decision versus the tokens potentially not being securities, which one in your mind was more important for the future of crypto?
Probably the Ripple.
I agree, because we had a Spaces yesterday where we spoke about this. And people were saying, no, the ETF decision is bigger. I said, look, the ETF decision just means more money coming into the asset. The other one is a pivotal moment because it actually changes whether these things are securities or not securities. And that changes the entire future of how people build with these things, use these things.
Well, because an ETF, Bitcoin, as you say, this is just flow of money, right? What the XRP Ripple case is all about is really about the future of Web3.
Agree.
Which is a much bigger concept than just cryptocurrencies. It's about the integration of blockchain technology into everything that we do in a whole bunch of different business models. And, you know, that's not clear yet, you know, where that's going to come out, but it's coming out in favor of Web3 being the future and not everything is a bloody security, which is ludicrous.
One thing I've noticed is when things are going to the courts, Web3 is winning. So Ripple, it went to the court, Web3 won. There was another monumental ruling this year. I actually may have it here. It is the Uniswap ruling. Now, a lot of people just, you know, they browse this and say, oh, it's a case, it's a fickle case against Uniswap, but it's actually not, because in this ruling, the judge actually acknowledged that DeFi is a decentralized protocol and you can't hold the developers liable for how people use the protocol. And they also acknowledge that DeFi is just a piece of code, which is, I mean, that is a massive ruling. The third big ruling we had was Grayscale versus the SEC, where Grayscale said, look, where the SEC, where the judge said, hold on a second, you can't treat the futures ETF different from the spot ETF, because essentially they both rely on the price of the spot asset. So I think that when things are going to the courts, we're getting some fantastic outcomes, and Web3 is actually winning.
We are. And Raoul Pal highlights that this is because one of the main reasons of this is that everybody in this space is some of the smartest people that he's ever come across, essentially. And I couldn't agree more. Look, Raoul has always been bullish on XRP, and shout out to him for that. And one thing we can say is that everything we've done with the success that we've had with Ripple and XRP in the case, we've done without Rand Nooner's help. That's for damn sure. And then we see here that not only is Raoul Pal talking about the excitement of the Ripple case and how profound that ruling was, but he also goes on here to talk about if you want the largest application layer possible, it's the whole financial industry. There's like 1 quadrillion of derivatives. Now remember, Craig DeWitt of Super Mojo, formerly of Ripple, said the same exact thing. All the equities markets, everything can go on chain. This is what I am ultimately here for. That doesn't mean I won't take profits on shallow bags and experience profits at $10, $25 or what have you. But I am ultimately here to experience that movement of all of these markets of derivatives on chain, and having access to the ability to invest in things that I believe will win when that takes place, like XDC, like XLM, XRP. I think you guys know the rest of it, and it's not financial advice. It's just my digital perspectives. But that's ultimately what I'm here for, the long haul. Now, speaking of the long haul, this is massive news, and it does not mention Ripple and XRP. Why is it massive news? Because we're watching a legacy payment company now expand to stablecoin settlement. Now, if we go into this, you will see through the diagram that it shows that right now that Visa has already settled millions of dollars using USDC stablecoin over the Ethereum and Solana blockchains between their clients. Now, everybody's, well, where's Ripple? Where's XRP? It's not mentioned. But this is Solana mentioning how incredible it is to have Visa expand their stablecoin settlement pilot to Solana and Ethereum, as I just showed you, right? This is massive that a legacy payments company like them are moving in this direction and starting to meld their business model into the use of these products and these development of these assets that we've been following for so long, like stablecoins. This is a massive, massive move. I want to remind everybody of this while we're at it. Remember, Ripple Partner joins forces with Visa to conquer billions of markets in Thailand and Australia. It's Ripple's partner D-Money. So there is a connection there. Don't forget about Visa acquires Ripple Partner Currency Cloud for $925 million. Pretty sure they're going to be using that solution when you spend that much money on it. So keep your eyes peeled for more information. Now, this is a conversation that comes up every so often about the private ledger with central banks versus the public ledger. And is there the same value of XRP tokens, or is there a different value for XRP on the private ledger as opposed to the public ledger? I have always believed there is one price for XRP. David Schwartz settles that right here. I want you to listen to this quick clip.
But the question is, will the value of XRP be the same in the private ledgers as it is on the public?
Yes. The value proposition of XRP is that it has these liquidity pools. If it doesn't make sense to isolate something, like there's no place where gold is worth twice as much as it is now, because if there was, people would just bring gold there and they would they would buy gold somewhere else and they would sell it there. Unless the only way that you can have the value be very different in two places is if there's a lot of friction. And if there's friction, someone will make a business of removing that friction. So I don't see any realistic scenario where XRP has significantly different value unless something's wrong. Like a good example of a case, there was a time where the value of XRP, they called it the kimchi premium, right? Where the value of XRP in some Asian countries was very high, but that was because there were capital controls, right? That was because things were bad. I think that's a sign that something is not going well. The value proposition of XRP is that you can take it to all of the places, right? If I sell you some gold and you say, hey, this gold can only be used in jewelry, you're like, well, that kind of sucks. I don't want that gold, right? The value proposition of gold is that you have access to the entire value proposition of gold. And so I don't see any scenario in which where it makes sense to snip pieces off, again, unless something is wrong.
There you have it. Now, I feel like the question that was missed here, and no slight to Tony, the interviewer here, but the question that shouldn't be whether two different prices for XRP on the public and private ledger. They are not. The question that should be asked is, do you have simulation data that lets potential clients understand the price of XRP once clients bring their liquidity to the network? I'm betting financial institutions and banks are not using something they don't understand the projected value of its use case. That's where I'm at with that. And with all of this that we're seeing here, we have seen a few days ago the triangle here that suggests that this triangle, the way it's laid out, runs all the way beyond, if I could just go into this, runs all the way beyond 2025 here. If you look, if you just kind of, you know, like probably first maybe 2 quarters, quarter 1, quarter 2 of 2025. Now, right now, it is September 2023. There are 3 months left, essentially, in this year of 2023. Then we're going into 2024, right, and beyond. So, look, when I look at what's happening here and the idea of this triangle, it does not guarantee that we're going to go up. There is no guarantee that you're going to go up. This is why we do all the research. This is why we remind ourselves of information from years past and how it remains relevant and sometimes even more relevant today. That's the important thing of doing all of this work and making sure you stay in tune that the investment and the news and the fundamental events do not change your opinion, but yet strengthen or embolden it towards where you're going. Now, that doesn't just pertain to XRP. It pertains to anything you invest in. You want to keep finding information that really makes you feel like you're on the right path. Now, everybody has to make up their own mind. Some people believe XRP is going to go down before it goes up, and that's fine too. I am in a place where if it does, I will fill my bags and I'll put some more in there because I believe I can't never have enough, because I believe it's not a matter of if it will be used. It's already being used. And the question left now is what percentage of adoption will there be captured by XRP, the asset, and Ripple, the company itself. So with that, you have to say to yourself, is it hard to believe that sometime in the future of 25 to 26, we could see CBDCs rolled out in a massive way? Is it hard to believe that XRP needs to be a higher value price? Think about the automated market makers. Think about all of us that are speculators in this space now having the opportunity to also become a market maker with automated market makers. What a remarkable idea and concept. Think about how much XRP will get locked up and create scarcity because you're locking it up to participate as an automated market maker. Think about the fact if there's an ETF for XRP, how much of that will have to be bought up and held in a reserve to allow people to get exposure to it through the regulatory frameworks of ETF investing. You know, it is endless. Think about the pools that will be created by the banks that launch CBDCs and want to hold XRP just like everyone else who has the opportunity to do so in the future. Are these things ridiculous? Not at my house. I could see $150 XRP at some point in the future, but I believe all the things mentioned have to happen to a great degree before that can take place. And that's why we're watching this space so closely. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.